We can set a record for getting this done early tonight by the looks of the agenda.
Mayor Allen, it is 6:30, so you may start when you are ready.
Okay, let's see if we can do that. Can I have a mover and seconder to call the meeting to order? Councillor Cabral, Councillor Ma Chapman. The regular meeting of the Council of Township of Springwater of March 2nd, 2022 come to order at 6:30 p.m. All those in favor? That is carried. Due to COVID, we're taking the necessary precautions to limit in-person meetings. Therefore, we are conducting this through Zoom. You can watch the meeting live by tuning into the township's website, www.springwater.ca. You can listen to the meeting live from a telephone during the meeting by calling 647-558-0588 and using the ID 852-8693-6306. This option is available during the meeting. If you want to watch the live stream, you're able to review the meeting at your convenience by watching the video on the township's YouTube channel. Are there any disclosure of pecuniary interest, council? Seeing none, we move to question period, where residents can forward questions in writing or forward a request to be able to pose the question in writing to the clerk. The instructions for doing this are on the agenda. These have to be received by the clerk by midday the day of the meeting. Clerk Ainsworth, have there been any submissions received for this evening's meeting?
Thank you, Mayor Allen. There have been no submissions received.
Thank you. Then at 5.1 on the agenda, we are at the adoption of the minutes of council. Can I have a mover and second to approve the minutes of council, please? Councillor Cabral, Councillor Ma Chapman. These are the minutes of the special meeting of council February 16, 2022, and the regular meeting February 16, 2022. Any questions or comments, council? All those in favor? That is carried. 5.3 is the minutes of boards, committees, and organizations. Mover and seconder, please, for these. Councillor Cabral, Councillor Ma Chapman. These are the minutes of the boards and committees and other organizations. Be received as information, the minutes of the Heritage Advisory Committee meeting of November 23rd, 2021, and the same committee for the minutes of January 25th, 2022. Any questions, comments? All those in favor? That is carried. No correspondence and information items, so we move to Item 7, action reports, of which there are 3. Can I have a mover and seconder to get these on the floor, please? Councillor Moore and Deputy Mayor Coughlin. Are there any desire to pull or question any of 7.2, 3, or 4? Councillor Cabral?
Just a question that kind of relates to the item number, I think it's the naloxone one, 7.4. I was just curious, was a time when pharmacies would provide those kits to pretty much anybody who wanted one. I wonder if anybody knows if that's still something that goes on today. Maybe Kirk might be able to add to that.
Councillor Moore, do you have any idea about that?
As far as I know, that's a program that's still continuing.
Yeah. Chief Kirk?
Through you, Mayor, to the rest of council, Councillor Moore is correct. However, that program is only to the general public. It's not to emergency services. So we're supplied our naloxone through the Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit.
Thanks. One more question, if I may, Mayor Allen.
Go ahead.
Being part of the program also requires, I think, their quarterly or reports to the provincial government. Would those be blind reports, just specifying date, time used, how often, when, and not contain identifiable information about the person who it was used on?
Through you, Mayor Allen, to Councillor Cabral, that you are correct, sir. That is protected information. All we would be doing is the quarterly report to indicate when it was used and how much we used in that quarter.
Thank you.
Okay, the recommendations that action reports 7.2 through 7.4 be received, being 7.2 noise exemption request, Carson Developments, 7.3 FCM membership partners for the climate protection program, and 7.4 naloxone access for police and fire agreements. All those in favor? That is carried. Point 4, information reports at 8.1. Can I have a mover and seconder to get this on the floor? Councillor Cabral, Councillor Maude Chapman. Any question with respect to either of these? The recommendation is that Councillor Hannah.
Thank you. I have trouble finding my cards all the time. Just a question on 8.2, the building, please.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you. On the activity summary that we get, it shows all the time residential and other. I wanted to know what was in the other, if that's like backyard suites or second suites, or what that includes.
CBO Verstraeten, please.
Yeah, so it'd be yeah, so residential other, yes, so that would be second suites and that type of thing. Yeah, sorry about that. Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Hannah.
Thank you, Mayor. Just through you to the director. And I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but with all this information we're hearing about second suites and people wanting them, would it be interesting for anybody else other than myself to see that as a separate identification on the summary?
I think that's a good idea. Would that be easy to footnote or pull out in some fashion, CBO?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we can change the verbiage on that and add in additional dwelling units.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then. The motion is that the report items listed herein be received as information. Mandatory firefighting certification, building services monthly activity report, January 2022. All those in favor? That is carried. Moving on to verbal reports. 9.1, 9.2, Director Spagnell is not with us tonight and has informed that there's not an update coming through the clerk. So we move to a 9.3 Midhurst Development Update. General Manager Ramdeo, please.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. Good evening, Mayor Allen, Deputy Mayor Coughlin, members of council. This evening, quite short, the only change from last report would be the work along Highway 26. With approval of report 7.2, the developer will now commence work on Highway 26, which will be mostly on the ground, not open cut drilling under the ground. And that's going to be all of the work that's going to happen in the next little while. So that's my update for this evening.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Okay, moving on to county updates. So Deputy Mayor Coughlin.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. There's no update at this time.
Holy smokes, municipal updates. Any municipal updates? I'll start with one. I just sent around an email. You may or may not have been able to see that the new detachment commander at Huronia West Division, the OPP, has been appointed, announced as of today. Inspector Lee Guilfoy. I was part of an interviewing committee along with Mayor Measures and Mayor Bifolchi. And we spent about a couple of hours interviewing this candidate, very qualified and very good candidate who lives in Wasaga, so with her husband. So she will be a good addition. And CEO Schmidt is going to reach out to try to arrange for a meet and greet, certainly virtually, in the near future. So more information is that contained within the email that I forwarded on to council. And I'm pleased to ask Manager Brianna Dean to update us on the golf tournament.
Thank you, Mayor Allen, and good evening to you and council. Just to provide an update in regards to the Springwater Swing. So we are confirmed to be at the Barrie Country Club this year. So we were originally planned to play at the Barrie Country Club for the Springwater Swing in 2020, which was postponed and again postponed in 2021 due to the pandemic. So we are scheduled for Monday, June the 13th with an 11:30 shotgun at the Country Club. And staff do have the kickoff meeting with the Country Club tomorrow to confirm further details about the event. And in the coming days and weeks, we will be sending out the information to for our sponsorship package, as well as for our registration package to our businesses and our local vendors and other contacts that have played previously in our Springwater Swing tournament.
Thank you. Look forward to that. Any other municipal updates? Councillor Maud Chapman.
Thank you, Mayor Allen, and it's probably towards Manager Dean. Just wondering if, since things were lifted yesterday, when the halls and facilities will be reopening.
Manager Dean.
Thank you, Mayor Allen, and through you to Councillor Maud Chapman and the rest of council. So we are currently finalizing the full reopening plan for the community halls throughout the township. We are currently speaking to residents and taking tentative bookings for the community halls, as well as we do have many bookings coming in for our outdoor facilities and our outdoor pavilions at this point.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cabral.
Thank you, Mayor. On that note, with our partnership with EDHS there, do those current bookings and what also apply to that, or are we waiting for something from the board to move forward on reopening that facility as well?
Manager Dean.
Thank you, Mayor Allen, through you to Councillor Cabral. We are currently still waiting from the Simcoe County District School Board for them to reopen community access. They have not reopened community access or partnerships to the schools. They are looking at right now permitting outdoor spaces for the summer season, but they have not reopened their indoor spaces at this time.
Councillor Hanna.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know, you want to suggest there should be a future consideration, but I don't think it's necessary. My question through you to Director Ramdeo is to do with potholes. And it just seems that we are now entering into pothole season. As fast as our staff fix them, they seem to pop back up again and so on. So my question is, through to the director, would it be advantageous to have a notice in the link or a communication hotline, email address or something for residents when they see potholes, just to forward them on so staff would be aware where the potholes have popped up, rather than them, not that I mind getting them and sending them on to staff, but I think it takes more time for staff to get them from me and have to respond to me. So I'm just suggesting a way of speeding up the process.
What are your thoughts, Manager or General Manager Ramdale?
Through you, Mayor Allen. I see Deputy Mayor Coughlin maybe wanted to say something as well. But Councillor Hanner, yes, that is something that we can do. I will speak with Michael about setting up that email and putting a notice out on our social media as to how to contact it. And quite that you brought that up. Manager Haw and I were actually talking about a way of simplifying that communication through social media and other ways. So we are working on it. But I will speak with Michael about setting up that email address as suggested.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Coughlin.
Thank you, Mayor Allen, and through you. At previous conferences, there was a discussion about an app called Ping that was used throughout other municipalities, where a resident could simply take a picture and it would GIS locate the pothole or full garbage can or whatever the instance might be where they were requesting services of public works. Has Ping still the only provider of that, or have we done further research into having a direct line through an app for residents?
I see General Manager, then I'll go to CAO Schmidt.
Through you, Mayor Allen, to Deputy Mayor Coughlin. Ping is not the only game in town. There are others, and it's something similar Manager Ha and I were discussing just earlier today.
Okay.
How can we set that in place?
Okay, CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to members of council, I just want to make council aware that we do actually have an online form on our website. If you go on this township or the resident goes on to our website and goes under report a concern, they can report pothole concerns and other concerns through that online form as well. So there is something there. It may not be as convenient as an app, but there is definitely something there today.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cabral.
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to reiterate what CAO Schmidt said, and there's a spot there that you click off specific to a pothole, and they can also submit pictures. So short term, I think that's a pretty decent way. If we can get the word out, people can do it that way. Would certainly work in the short term.
Okay. Any other municipal updates? Moving on then to notices of motion. Any notices of motion? On to items of future consideration. Any items for future consideration? Moving on to bylaws. 12.1. Can I have a mover and seconder for approval of the bylaw? Councillor Cabral, Councillor Moore. That the bylaw listed herein be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk, 2022-017. Naloxone access for police fire agreements. All those in favor? It is carried. Mover and seconder for the confirmatory bylaw. Deputy Mayor Coughlin, Councillor Ma Chapman, that the bylaw 2022-019 to confirm and adopt the proceedings of council at the regular council meeting held on March 2nd, 2022, listed herein be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. All those in favor? That is carried. And before we adjourn on this record-setting council meeting, and I'd like that to go down in the annals of history in Springwater, and it took 17 minutes. I meant to mention at the beginning, we've all suffered and are horrified by what's going on in Ukraine. And I'm sure on behalf of all of council, we pray for and feel for what is going on there and have great concern with how that's going to impact the world, really, going forward. So our hearts go out to Ukrainians and how they're affected by what Russia is doing. So can I have a mover and seconder to adjourn the meeting, please?
Thank you for saying that, Mayor Allen.
Thank you. Councillor Cabral, Councillor Moore, that the regular meeting of the Township of Springwater does now adjourn at 6:48 p.m. to meet again at regular meeting on March 16, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. All those in favor? It is carried. Stay well.